Okay, we'll start with the last project which we did. So we have the first name in the top and the last name at the bottom, and we have 9 different boxes here in the row and column. So let's try to understand what we are going to do today. This is already done in the React, but since we are doing React Native, I will repeat it. So we are trying to do 2 things. One is state and another is props. So generally props are variables passed from one component to another, and we cannot change the value of variable. So these are read-only variables. Whereas if we go about a state, in the state are variables which can be changed. So if you want some variables which are editable, then you have to use state. But if you want to use the variables which are only read-only, then use the props. Okay, so let's understand these 2 concepts in this project. Let's try to do this one. So what I will do, I will take the value from the first name and the last name and display in 2 of the boxes. Since the user will change the value of the first name and the last name, whether I have to take props or state to save the value of the variables. So question, whether I have to use state or props. I'm asking, since I have to change the value of the first name and the last name, so do I have to use state variables or the props variable for the first state variable, because we can edit it, we can change it. So to create the state variables, I can create the state variable in the first name component, that is in the top component. I can create the state variable in the last name component, that is the bottom component. But the problem will be that if I create in the top, how can I access that variable to show in these boxes? So to show the variable value in the boxes, we have to choose the parent, topmost parent component, where I will take the variable, state variable, so that I can pass those variable into the box. And the best place to save the variables is in the project 6, which is the topmost level of this component. So here I have to create the state variables, and I will pass it to the child component wherever I need it. Now, how to create the state variable? I will use constant and I will put some name. I can use first name and set first name is equal to react.useState. So the problem with this will be, I have to create multiple. For the last name, I have to create another one. Set last name. So the problem will be, if my form has 100 fields, I have to create this 100 times, and that is not an efficient way of doing it. So we will create only the one variable, which will be the object, and which can hold the first name, last name, and many other variable names which we need for this page. So instead of these 2, yes, right. So instead of these 2, I will create only the state variable, and I'll say set state. And here, instead of string, I will create an object. And in this object, I will put first name and the last name like this. and I can update the value in the first name and last name. In this way, I can add multiple key value fields because my form will be generally having hundreds of key value pairs. So this is the best way I can save it in the object. Now, first thing is I need to pass the set state variable in the top also, in the bottom also, because we need to update the first name and last name from the top and bottom. So I have to pass this set state to the top component. And how I will pass this set state as a props. So whenever I define some parameters, attributes here, it goes into the top component as a props. So I'll say set state equal to set state. Similarly, I also want to pass the set state to the bottom component here. Now I have passed the set state in the top component and in the bottom component. So I have to retrieve this set state in the bottom component and top component. So how to retrieve it? We have to retrieve it as a props. I can use directly as props here. And then if I want to use set state, I can use props dot set state and do something, whatever I have to put it here. Another way to do the props is destructuring. So for the destructuring, Ashok is right. We have to do destructuring. We have to directly use the curly bracket, and whatever variable we are passing, we can call it directly here. So I'll call set state here also. In the bottom also I call the set state. So set state is now passed to the top and the bottom component. Now whenever user will change the first name or the last name, then I will call this function set state and I will update the value of the first name and the last name. So generally, if you see in the web world, we use on change behavior, but here we have to use on change text. Okay, so we have to change it to on change text. And if we see what comes on in the on change text, let's see what comes in the on change text. I will do console.log of wall. Okay, let's try now what happens in the console. So if I type something, so you will see wall HD, whatever I typed here, whatever I'm typing here, it is coming in the wall like that. In the web world, we get the event and we have to get it like event.target.value. But in the React Native, we directly get the value whatever user is typing. So what I will do, once I get this value, I have to update the first name in this one. Now, can anyone tell me how will I write the set state function so that it will update this value, first name? And here I will do console.log of state to see what is the value in the state. So Ashok is writing .wall. Since wall is not an object, if I put .wall, it will not work. I want someone to tell me what should I put inside the set state so that it can update the first name, because we are in the top one. This wall is string, so .wall will not work. Can anyone write what will be the right answer? State dot first name. We don't have state here. We have only set state. So how can I write state here? State is not even defined here. So if you see, the state is empty now because it's not been updated. And I want this statement from you. I want to see who can write this statement. Just try. Just think over it. Set state name value. So set state is a function. You cannot put set state name dot wall. Set state is a function, not an object. So I cannot write like set state of name colon value or equal to value. That will not work. I want exact one. If you put dot 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 here, it will not work. And state is not here. You know, state is not here. I don't pass state. I directly want to update set state without passing the state. I don't have state here. So I cannot use like this dot 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 state comma first name equal to value. I cannot write down this because state is not defined in this function. And I can pass the state here in the top, but I don't want to pass it. So I want to update it without passing the state. Anyone? Anyone knows how to update the state? So I have taken about 30-40 people interview in the React, and no one has been able to tell me the answer for this one. Okay, so after that, I stopped asking in the interview, and because no one is able to answer it. Okay, so now just watch it. I have done this many times in the React. Maybe you don't remember those things. So here I have to pass a callback function here in the set state, and here I will get the previous state value. So I don't have to pass the state value specifically. I will get the previous state here. So here I will get a previous state, whatever state we have. So the whole object which we have here, this object, I will get it here automatically in the previous state. And then I have to return it. And I have to return it with the previous state. And then I have to pass the updated state. What is the updated state? Updated state is first name colon val. So what I did, I get the previous state, I pass the previous state as an object, and I overwrite the first name with the value which user will type. So after this one, the state variable for the first name will be updated. So same thing I can do here on change text. I will pass arrow function, and here I'll get the value, and I'll call the set state. In the set state, I have to put the arrow function. In the arrow function, I'll get the previous state, and I have to return previous state comma last name. Here I have to update with the last name with the val. So whenever I will run this statement, I will get updated the last name here in the bottom one. So let's try and see. So first name is, let's say, Jack. So once I pass the first name, you will see the state variable for the first name is updated with the Jack. And if I put it here, it is saying the last name is Bauer. Okay, so it is updated with the Jack and Bauer. Let me restart app. So when I restart, state first name is empty, last name is null. Let me put it as Jack now. So you will see the Jack is here, and last name is Bauer. Last name is Bauer here. Now what I want to do is, I want to also put, see, this is the on-change text. I want to also put the value parameter. Value will be nothing but the whatever user has entered it. That is the first name. That is the first name, this one. Since I want to pass the first name in the top, I can also pass another props first name equal to state dot first name. Similarly, in the bottom, I will pass the last name equal to state dot last name. So that means I will get this first name in the top component as the props, and I will pass a value as the first name. Similarly, in the bottom, I will get the last name and I will pass a value as the last name. And I also want to see what last name is coming in the console. And similarly, I also want to see what is the first name coming here in the console. Okay, now let's start again. So here first name, I will put the first name as Jack. You will see the state is updated with the first name Jack, whereas last name is empty now. And I will update the last name also Bauer. So we'll see last name is updated as Bauer and state is also Bauer. Is this clear? How to update the state in the text box using the object? Okay, now there is one catch. Now what is the catch? Let me show you. Okay, so when let's restart and I'll show you. Okay, now first name is empty and the last name is empty. Now I will type only one letter in the first name, J. As soon as I type first name in the in the top one, you will see the state is updated with the first name J and the last name is empty. You will see also since I am passing first name here in the top component, so you are seeing the log of the first name. And since I am also passing the last name in the bottom component, so you will see this console.log log of last name as a last name. But the problem here is I did not update the last name, and then also it is calling the bottom component. So what is the problem? I did not update the last name. It is same as the previous one. Then also it is calling the bottom component. So imagine if we have the 100 field and you are updating only the one field, then all the 99 field will also be called whenever I update the first name or any variable. So I don't want to call the last name unless and until I edit the last name. Right. So how to fix this? We have to use memo. Ashok has written already memo. To fix this one, we have to use react.memo, and react.memo will check if the variable is updated, then only that component will be called, otherwise that component will not be called. So let's try to add the memo here in this component and in the bottom component so that we don't see it unless it is changed. So how to do that? So I have already this top component. Let's add the memo for the top component. I can create another top 2 maybe I can name anything as react.memo and I will pass the top one. So the top one is now called through memo with and named as top 2. Similarly for bottom, I will do as bottom and bottom 2. Now instead of calling top 1, I'll call the top 2 and bottom 2. Now let's try to do it again and see what's happening. Okay, so now I will say J. So you will see only the first name is component is called, the last name component is not called. Now I will try to change in the first name, only first name component is called, not the last name component. And in the last name, I will say Bob. When I change the last name, you will see only the last name component is called, not the first name component. But state is called always because that is the parent. And whenever the state will change, this component will be called. But top and bottom are only called when the value is changed and which is not similar to the previous one. Okay, so that's how we use the memo. Now let's try to put the first name in the card one and last name in the second card. Okay, so the text will be here state.first name, and here it will be state dot last name. As we did the console here, let's do the console in the card also. And I pass the first name and last name. Let's try it now again. So initially card was loaded and first name, 1 second. So we are just passing card with the value whatever we have. Now you will see how I'm changing it. Let's see. I put the Jack. So as soon as I put Jack, you will see first name component is called, card is also called, and card is called with all again, with all this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 times it is called. Okay, A, when I pass A. So whenever I'm changing first name, this card whole thing is called again, and you see the let's put the Jack here at the first one, first column. Let's try to add the memo also for the card. So I'll say constant card2 equal to react.memo card. Okay, and now instead of, maybe here I will say card component, and this I will rename as card, so I don't have to edit it all the places. Now card is calling the memo. Now let's try it again, what's happening. Okay, first time the card is called, first time we will see the first name is called, and last name I removed the console from the last name, so you are not able to see it. Now I will call the Jack again. So as soon as I call J, you will see the state is called, first name is called, and card, only one card is called, which is changed. It didn't call all the card because those are not changed because of the memo. So always try to use the react.memo for the component where you have the props. That way you are saving the memory or the loading time because it's not going through all the component again. AUR. So as soon as I'm typing, only one card is affected. Rest all other cards are not affected. Let's do it for the last name. Here also only one card is affected, which is changed. Other cards are remain same. So we are not calling card again and again because of the memo. Okay, let's remove this, or let's keep it here so you can see, and let's see the bottom. Okay, so I'm calling only the limited amount of the component which is needed. Is this clear, whatever I showed you? Any questions on this one? Now I'll give you 5 minutes and I'll give you this one and try to do it in your folder and see if it is working. I give you the code in the Telegram. Try it and let me know in 5 minutes if it is working as expected as I showed you. And if you have any questions, just ask me now. This is very important concept and I ask always in my interview, and nobody is able to do this one because they are not clear how to update the state. Many times they don't know how to update the state, they don't know how to call the react.memo. So all the people which I interviewed in the last 6 months, they all failed in this exercise. Okay, now you understood this concept. Maybe someone asks you, you will pass if you have also understood it. Okay, just let me know in 5 minutes once you're done. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Is it done? Hello. Can you hear me? No one is answering. That's why I have to ask.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, Kate answered and okay. Now let's move to some other thing now. Okay. Use react.memo for every component which has props. If there is no props, no need to pass use the react.memo. And I'll just put this statement which is very important, how to update the state. So before I end this project, I just want to tell you one more thing. Since we have created this as an object, we have to create it as an object, and that's the reason we are using the set state in this way. If it would have been numeric or a string, then calling the set state directly with the wall is used. Okay, when we have the object, we use this way. When we have the string, numeric, or boolean, we use this one. So object or array. Whenever we have object or array, we have to use this format. We have to take the previous state, manipulate it, and return it. And when we have a variable as a string, number, or boolean, then directly we call the set state value. So this is the difference between the two. Okay, now I'll create another project. It will be project 7. Okay, let's call this project 7 in home page, home component. Intro. I'll just name it as intro. Project 7. And in the app also, I will call this 7. And I'll add one more line here. Okay, so we have project 7 as an intro. Name is intro. Okay, let's do this one now. Let's see. Okay. So what we are trying to build, you will see in a quickly when I try to do the things. So this is my one view, and I will build something here. Let me write down another thing here. I will create a first. Let's see 7 is coming or no. Yeah, so we are getting 7. Now let's add one view. And here I will put some text. Maybe I'll say welcome to my app. Okay, so text is changed here. Now I'll put some style sheet on this one, and Okay, so let's put some style sheet here. I'll say style equal to style dot container. So this is my main container, and I will put the border width of 1 or maybe 10 or maybe 5 is good. Okay, 5. Okay, so this is the 5 one, and I will put the border color for now, red. Okay, I want to take this container to take the whole space, and what should I do for that? Flex 1. Okay, yeah, so we have to use flex of 1. So it's taking the whole space. Okay, now what I will do, I will give some style sheet to this one. Okay, style equal to style sort, maybe I'll say outer. Okay, this is outer, and this text is called inner. So I'll create another style called as styles dot inner. Okay, so let's create two more, outer and inner. Okay, so we got outer and inner. Okay, let's put the border for this also. Okay, so we got border for this also. Okay, now if I want to take this also, the whole of the spacing, what should I do? Flex 1, right? So both of the borders are touching the whole of this space. Now this is the text, and this is the parent called as outer, and we have the inner as a child. So now I want to move this content to the center of it, right? So how will I do that? What should I put here? Okay, align item equal to center. Let's put align item equal to center. So align items goes into the center. Since align items is around the cross axis, so it goes here in the center. And what is the next one? What else? I want to put it in the center. That is this center. I put align item, only it moves to the center at the top, not at the middle of it. So how can I do it? Let's put the border for that also. Okay, so this is that. So it is in the center, but I want to make the center of the screen. Anything? Anyone? How will I make it center to the screen? Justify content. Okay. So let's put the justify content equal to center. So it goes to the middle. Now, since it is in the proper position, I will remove the border. Oh, not this border, this border. Okay. Okay, I removed it. Welcome to app. Okay, now let's make this little bigger. Okay, so I will make it bigger by saying font size of 24, and I will say font weight. It is 700 is bold kind of thing. So I made it bold kind of thing. And then I will, okay, so these two things is okay for the inner one. Now, what I'll do, I want to give some background color to this one. Okay, so let's create another one. I will create another property one. I will say background color of hash BF3325. I can put anything. And I will assign this one to this view container. So how can I assign two classes here, two styles here? Can anyone tell me? I have done it previously. I want to see if you remember that one. How can I add outer also and one right? Okay, it has written correctly. So if I want to put multiple, I will create an array and I will say one. Since I put one here, it becomes red color. And I will also change the color to white. So color is white. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to add three more. Okay, so this will be 2, this will be 3, and I will give some different background color to this is 2, this is 3. Okay, so now let's give this to 383CC1, and let's give this one to 02B290. Now what is the problem here? Since I use the flex here, it is taking the it is taking the equal space. All three are taking equal space. But what if I want to take the welcome to app, the whole width, whole of the height, and then second one should also take the whole of the space, and third one also take the whole of the space. To do that, I cannot put the flex one, because flex one will give equal one space. But I want to take the height of this mobile to first box, and the height of this mobile to the second box, and the height of the mobile to the third box. So we need the specific height and width for this mobile device. So to get the specific height and width, we use one of the property of React Native is called the dimensions. Now, how to get the dimensions, width and height from the dimension? So I will now give the width of, I can give width of 500, anything. So you will see it has increased it, but I want to give the width of the mobile. So to get the width of the mobile, I will put dimensions dot get window dot width. So this way, though it is taking little bit outside because of it takes the equal one, but look while it is little outside on the side, and that's okay for me because I will not show the border. Okay, if want to say I can decrease some of the pixels or some of this to show exactly, though it's saying it is width equally, but somehow it little bit extends on the this side, right side. Even in height also it increases because of mismatch of exact configuration. And I will give the height of, okay, so this is height. So you will see this welcome to my app is taking the whole of the width and height. I will remove the border because that's not the, it's looking little bit odd. I will remove the border. So it is, yeah, because of the border, it was little bit going on the right side. Okay, now where is the two things gone? I have this second and third is there, but they are in the below this first one, and I'm not able to scroll this up because this is tied to the screen. So to scroll this up, I have to use scroll view. Okay, so we have to use scroll view instead of view. I will be using scroll view. Let's restart it. So now if you see, I can scroll to the second and third box. So if you have any content which is bigger than the screen, you have to use the scroll view. Otherwise, it will not work. It will be on the first page only. Let's put yeah, this is fine. Now I can scroll to the top to bottom. I can also scroll from the top to right side. So if I want to scroll this from top to right side, I have to do some changes, but before that I will change this text. Okay, so I change the text. So the best quality app is here and third one is here. Let's try to move it from left to right. If I don't put anything, it will move from top to bottom. But if I say horizontal, then it will go from left to right. Okay, so this go 1, 2, and 3. Now, when I go from one page, one view to another one, it is kind of, it is not kind of, like you're going from one page to another. It is kind of continuous scroll kind of thing. So to make it like it goes from one view to another, let's add one more property here in the scroll view that is called paging enabled. Once I say paging enabled, you will see it goes like a smoothly from one page to another one. Once I move here, it goes here. And this kind of thing you might have seen in many of the apps where they have the initial intro helper thing that what your app does. So you can say welcome to app. My app is good for best quality app or something, whatever the text you want to give, you can assign it to that. So this is kind of simple project where we have help pages from one page to another one and from second to third one. Okay, so just do this. So what main thing we did, we removed the flex from here because flex was taking, flex was taking, dividing the screen into 3 and we were not able to achieve our goal of particular height and width. So we took the height of the mobile, width of the mobile and assign it to height and width, this outer one, so that we can take the whole of the width and height. With the flex, it will give the space, divide it into 3. But now we don't want division. We want the full height and width of the mobile. Is that clear? So just so generally 100% on width may work kind of thing, but on the height it will not work because height is calculated after the app is loaded, so it will not get the proper height. So you have to use height at the window. Yeah, let's try to use the 100% and see what's happening since you. Okay, so 100% also not working because 100% is it's taking the whole of the 100%, this 3. So it's not even taking that one. So 100% is also not working for the width. In height, definitely it will not work, but for width also it's not working. In some cases, when we have only one view, you can use 100% width, but not even height. Okay, so we have to give some fixed one, and this is the dynamic one. And if you have iPad, it will take the height and width of iPad. If it is bigger screen, it will take the height and width of that one. So I'll give you this project, just run it in your, I'll give you in the Telegram. run it and see if it is working, and try to understand different parts of this project, because all these projects, whatever we are doing, you will get something in your real project help from these small projects. Okay, just do it in 2 minutes, then I'll raise the PR and we're done. Yeah, I was just experimenting without, I'm not talking. Okay, so let me commit it, merge it to the main one. Okay, well, let me create the request, merge request. Okay, so now it is available in the main one. Now let's see which are the branches. I see a lot of branches are there, which are should not be there. Today is July 7th. Let's see. This branch should go away, but it should be get deleted, but it's not deleting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so things are merged in the main. Let me see the main one. If changes are there. Okay, let's go to source. Yeah, I don't see it there. Okay, let me merge the request. Sorry, it is not merged yet. Yeah, let's merge it. Okay, now it is merged. Let's see now. Okay, now the branch is deleted. And let's see in the source if it is there. Yeah, we have 7 projects. Yeah, any questions?